If this is what the rest of their products are like, then I have absolutely no interest in buying them again. Hey everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today, we're looking at Super7's Robin Hood from the Disney classic animated movie, but you wouldn't know that because the packaging looks like this. So here's an image. That's better, right? When we do reviews on this channel, we start with like an overview of the actual packaging from the inside and the product, and then we'll look at details, articulation, and posing, and end it all with a nice rating. Let's get into it. Okay, so Super7, this is the first product that I have received from them. If you're not familiar with the brand, they do make a lot of Ninja Turtle stuff. So if you're a Ninja Turtle fan and you like the classic cartoon toys, then you definitely want to check out Super7. But here we go. So the box that it comes in has some, you know, basic information, choking hazards, all that stuff, barcodes. So sometimes you'll actually see the package like this if you're at like a toy swap or a toy store or something that actually sells Super7 products. But for the most part, you got to go online. So we open it up. We have the actual product packaging, wrapped in plastic, and all of this came, of course, in a cardboard box, like a shipping box. So it's nice that they're putting that much care into the packaging, which really, I think, goes to show that they care how your product is received, like how you receive the product. People are mint inbox collectors, and when you have this many layers of protection, you're in good hands. So let's open up this plastic part, because obviously this channel is not an inbox. That would be a very boring channel. So it is interesting. I mean, I really do like the packaging from what we're getting here so far, but clearly we're not getting a plastic window, right? There's no like real way for somebody to display this. Obviously the sleeve will come off. We'll see what that looks like. But packaging wise, so we have the same choking hazards that we saw on the brown box, some of the same information, so like the barcode and the figure plus accessories. Pretty straightforward as far as the box information goes. Not a whole lot to look at, just some nice arrows in this tree. So far this is telling me that they are another brand that isn't giving the call outs to the sculptors and the painters and the artists and the packaging artists and stuff. So maybe there's something somewhere that does that. Let's see. Let's take the sleeve off. There we go. So now we actually have a nice package display, something that's a little more traditional and what you might expect with something like this. And first glance, this is really nice. I am surprised how much they just use the 3D renders to like advertise their products and never show the actual products like this. It's very interesting. I mean, for the most part, what I see generally, yeah, they're just the 3D renders. So this is nice. There's a lot of detailed pieces going on here. So a little information about Robin Hood himself. But if for some reason you've never seen this animated movie, it is just, it's spectacular. It's one of the best. I grew up with it, obviously, so there's a lot of nostalgia with it. And so it could be a little biased towards it, but I think it holds up very nicely and is definitely one to show the kids. Unless there's something in there that I'm not remembering. All right, so nothing left to talk about in the packaging. There's no, like I said, there's no call outs on who was involved in any of this. So let's open it up and take a closer look. Got a real nice backdrop on the inside of the target. Again, if you haven't seen the movie, pretty crucial part of really any Robin Hood movie, so not unexpected. But that's a nice backdrop for keeping it in the package, I guess. But you can't really do anything outside the package, and it would be a little overkill on size. So you can remove this, yeah. So this is a sleeve that can come out. It's just like it's perfectly cut to match up to the box and stuff. So there's no reason to take it out, really. So here we go. We got a nice overview of everything that's in the packaging. There's a lot. There's a lot to look at. There's 2 layers of stuff. So this is really cool, man. They are not slacking on accessories at all. And this is the version, I don't know actually if they have another version, but this is the version specifically where he has his disguise, as we can see here, and all of the hands back here that his are like his bird hands when he's dressed up in that disguise. So two variants of the same thing with alternate heads, so you're kind of getting two characters in one. I mean, there's no reason that they couldn't have just made these two different characters and forced you to buy both of them. But they're giving you everything, which is nice. I mean, the price is certainly higher than some of the other brands, so I guess you're kind of paying for two characters, but you know what? Let's get everything out, because there's a lot to look at. All right, we got a full range of stuff to deal with, and it feels a little overwhelming, to be honest. You got a lot of alternative costume or in disguise stuff. Oh, this is a lot. So I don't look forward to the posing stage, but I think it's gonna be ultimately an endless thing. It just comes down to his articulation, which, you know, looks like it'll be okay, but wow, do you get a lot of stuff. This is really, really nice. Looks like the pieces actually screw in, or unless it's just, so maybe not. All right, so these are in there permanently, but you do get an extra set for each costume. Man, this is a lot. So you get an alternate head, you get his costume disguise head and lower torso. You get two bows, one for each costume, two arrows for each costume, the trophy from winning, if I remember correctly. You get both quivers, you get his stilts for his costume, you get alternate hands for this body, you get the overall cover for his costume, and then all of his costume hands. So you get a lot of hands for the costume, just a couple for the regular version, but that's really cool. So let's get into details. So looking at it, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Obviously, it's based off an animated thing. The colors are very animated. There's nothing going on additionally with coloring. So it's really just the truest representation going from a 2D animation to this. So I do like that, and I'm glad there's no like cell shading or anything to try to attempt to have, you know, like a shadows built into it. Just let the figure give you the shadows. But this is really cool. It looks like there's articulation in the mouth, but I do not think that's the case. I think it's just the way it's built. But yeah, not a lot to talk about with details, but it is a very good representation of that animated movie come to a 3D figure. And then it looks like there's a little bit of a bent thing going on here out of the box, but this awesome sculpt, classic arrow through the hat, good looking face. We got the alternate costume, or the in disguise. I'm gonna keep saying costume when I mean disguise, but so that looks really good. Then we have the lower torso, which again will have like this over top of him with his stilts and stuff, but still good details going on here. This is pretty straightforward. Not a lot of detail. I mean, I don't know how you would improve that, like when you have this kind of molded into it, but just don't look down into it, right? So there's not a lot of movement out of this piece, so maybe be a little bit delicate with that. It's just kind of pre-molded to, I guess, to sit on him in a very particular way. But there we have the alternative quiver with the other arrows. We have these alternative hands, which look pretty straightforward. Again, not a lot to talk about with details, because it's just, does it have the representation of the animated movie? And I think so, yes. Semi-gloss up here on this green, and then these have a nice matte finish. Alternate hands that come in the box for the costume. Ugh. For the disguise. They're looking really nice. Pre-molded, you can't do any articulation out of the hands once they're attached, it looks like. And of all of that just being solid plastic pieces, and then this cloth one is pretty interesting. So nice. I mean, I think this is kind of what you have to do for the disguise if you want to cover everything up. I almost said costume again. Oh my god. So there it is. I mean, oh, the bow. So pretty straightforward in the plastic. It does have some nice snap to it, so it is a stretchy string. And then same thing on this one, but with the little leaves and things. All right, so this as well. So when he wins his prize for being the best archer, there it is, the golden arrow. It's just attached to it. It's fine, looks great. But that's it. Pretty straightforward on details too. So let's get into articulation. So starting with the head, as always, we have, let's see, you can rotate all the way around. I can see a little piece in here on his neck. So let's see, going down, not a lot. And there's nothing up. It's just straightforward and then a little bit of down. And then there's no tilt on the head. So not a lot to go off of there. The arms all the way around, you get a nice T pose if you need it. You got, let's see, there's a rotation here at the sleeve. And do we have, yeah, rotation at the elbow. And then of course, you can bend it. It's just a single joint, which is fine, but it is certainly limiting. Then you have the wrists, which will spin all the way around. And then of course, you get this 90-degree turn in the wrist. And then as far as the upper half of the body, it looks like it's essentially a ball joint. So you get some pretty good tilt articulation there. Go forward, not really. So that's about as much forward and backward as you can get. And it rotates just a hair, but it doesn't seem to want to stay too much. The waist right at the belt has good, it's just flat. There's no tilt or anything there. It's just a very flat rotation. And then at the legs, let's see, we got something going on here. So the legs can twist into kind of like weird ways. That's kind of a, he's an interesting shape, so you can't get a whole lot, I guess, out of that. This is a softer plastic, so at least you can kind of push it. Oh, there's his lower torso, disconnects super easy. The knee joint, very simple. Not a lot to do there, just kind of a 90-degree bend. And then the ankle is a full rotation. Of course, the knee does rotate and kind of give you some different angles. And then you get this kind of insane level of articulation in the ankle, and then a nice, almost straight down. The tail rotates and has a hinge point, so that's not too bad at all. I wonder what it will be like on the rest of them. Obviously, there's no articulation on any of these pieces. Nothing on this one either. The bottom half of the body, just the knees are going to be able to rotate. And that's it. Oh, and the tail. His feathered tail. Rotation and articulation there, and then whenever you attach his other legs. Well, now this is going to be interesting. So we have the legs here, which will snap into place. Now, why does it look like that? So they're really loose once they're in there. So this is going to be an interesting thing. And these feet don't have any way to use a stand. Neither feet do. That's going to be a concern probably for trying to do different poses. If you can't put him on a stand, what are you going to do? You're just going to have to find the perfect way to prop him up and never touch him. But with loose ankles like this, I'm a little concerned. Oh my god, this is already a nightmare. All right, well, I'm deeply concerned about how he's going to be able to stand. These bottom legs are awful. But let's just figure it out, I guess, during the posing stage. All right, so this is one that I actually just gave up trying. I am so frustrated with this thing, and I was a little afraid because of looking at the articulation and stuff, but now that it's out, and there are a lot of accessories and it doesn't need them, to be honest. Just give us 2 torsos and you can have 2 figures. That would be way better, but swapping all of these things out is stupid, and all of those disguise arms is unnecessary. We don't need that many of them. We need more regular hands, if anything, but nothing really works. I hate it. It's the most disappointing figure that I think I've bought. And this has a bigger place in my heart from the childhood, experience of it. And this is just, man, if you were hoping for something good that might feel that nostalgia, this is not it. Sorry to say. So when it comes to detail, it's fine. I mean, there are seam issues and the paint's okay. It's not great, but I would give it a 3 out of 5 on detail. But when it comes to articulation, God, it just gets worse the more you use it. All the joints are super loose. You don't have a whole lot of range, but the looseness of everything in the head and the disguise head never stays on. It constantly pops off. So I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5, which brings us to posing, which was an absolute joke, and I'm so mad. And you have to use the Obitsu stand. You have to use this stand if he's in disguise mode, and honestly half the time when he's not, just because he's so bad. And I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5 on posing. Okay, well, there's the score and the overall rating, and I am just gonna say this, he's not worth the money. He's not worth the price that you would need to pay for this. I mean, if they took out all the extra disguise stuff maybe, and there are other disguises that I think I would like to have, like the beggar would be cool looking, but I am just really disappointed in the quality behind this product. And I saw that some people had issues where his head post was breaking just by changing it out, but things are either incredibly loose, like his torso, his legs, his other legs especially, or they're way too tight. So trying to get this arrow in here was really difficult, and there is a default gap between those fingers. It's just not quite enough, and it seems like, well, obviously that should be there, right, to hold the arrows. Is that why they put a gap on this hand and not the other side? But these hands that are supposed to hold the bow are just too loose to do that. And then this one is just too tight. So what is this hand supposed to do? Just, you can't even get the arrow in there from a side angle. But I'm gonna show you the hand that you would want to put the bow in. That's it. It then falls out. It's just stupid. Overpriced, nothing really works right. Posing is an absolute nightmare, especially with those stupid legs. And then he can't even really hold this because he doesn't have flat hands. But this is pretty upsetting, and the fact I have Prince John with Sir Hiss coming. Oh, man. I don't know. I mean, it's it looks good, and as long as you don't touch it, and then it's not bad at all. And then the other problem is that you can see this, a lot of the plastic will get stressed and lighten in color. So you can see that is happening here. I forget where else I saw that happen, but it's really anywhere that the joints or anywhere where the plastic has to get stressed a little bit, you're gonna get that problem. And then this this happened just from putting it on, and then it doesn't want to stay up, but it should be right here. That is the perfect layout and positioning so that the plastic leans against his body in his upper half there, but because the back is flat and there's no give on anything, it just does that. You cannot get him to pose properly with the quiver on his body. Absolutely disappointed. For the price, it's well, just find a statue version or one you can't pose, I guess, because I'm really disappointed for something that is actually one of my favorite animated movies from my childhood, that I can still watch to this day and enjoy. It's just not good. It has the quality control of a cheaper thing, but the price went up because you got licensing maybe, or because you got all these other accessories and that justified the price. But just give me two static figures in two different disguises, and then the fact that you can't, like, you get so many extra pieces, you could almost build his disguise, but you have to have this torso. I mean, you were so close to just having two complete figures, but you need the torso. And you're not gonna buy this box twice just to get a torso. So, I don't know. It's, his ankles are, I mean, look at how loose that ankle is. It's just, I mean, you probably can't tell, but it doesn't take any effort. So it's just, you can't pose him. You have to either find a perfect pose, or you have to use one of these Obitsu stands, which I'm a huge fan of. They're awesome, and I'd love to do like a little mini review of these things, but just put holes in his feet. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh. So Super7 for me is off the table going forward. I mean, I'm gonna get King Hiss or whatever, Prince John and King Hiss, and I have that other one already on its way, and I did get it discounted, but I have no interest in this brand, and I assume that the Ninja Turtle stuff is probably just as bad. I mean, maybe they're thicker, so maybe there's some saving grace in that brand, but I would love to hear your thoughts on Super7 and all of the other figures, or if you've experienced this. Are you in the same boat as me, or is this just like a huge shutdown for that brand? Because, yeah, if this is what the rest of their products are like, then I have absolutely no interest in buying them again. But if you enjoyed the review itself, maybe not the product, then check out this one. This is actually a product that I really enjoyed. We'll see you next time.